Good afternoon, everybody. I hope this microphone is working. Can everybody know? It should be working now. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear me in the back. So a very warm welcome to this policy briefing. We're very honored to have with us today Andriy Yermak, head of the Office of the President of Ukraine. A big welcome to you. This visit comes a few days after President Zelensky presented Ukraine's victory plan in the Rada. And then yesterday in the European Parliament, he subsequently presented it to members of Parliament. And of course, it also comes ahead of forthcoming very important elections in the United States. So the purpose of this meeting today, or this discussion today, is to hear from Mr. Yermak more about the victory plan, what's in it, more than what we've already read, how it's going to be implemented, and together with that to hear the next steps regarding the peace formula and the upcoming peace summit, which is due to be held at the end of the year. We don't have too much time, so I immediately want to give the floor to Mr. Yermak for some opening remarks, and then we will move to a couple of questions for me as the moderator. And then to the floor. Just a very quick announcement. Due to Mr. Yermak's very tight schedule, there won't be a press conference after this, but we're going to take all the questions from the press who are in the room. So please bear that in mind. So floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now it's better. Oh, yeah. Again, hello to everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored and pleased to speak before you. Thank you to having me here today. I believe it's a very symbolic that we are discussing the future of Ukraine here in Belgium. Like us, this country has fought for this independence over the centuries and achieved it. Like us, it defended its sovereignty. Like ours, its territory were divided and annexed. Great powers try to determine its fate without asking what its citizens wanted. It used state neutral. Yet, despite this, it was treacherously attacked twice. It bleeded the flames of two world wars. However, alliance helped it to endure and recover. Belgium often experienced divisions, but always remained united. Everywhere it became the heart of the European and the Euro-Atlantic unity. What is all this? Seemed possible or even like it first? You know the answer. The other days, President Zelensky unveiled Ukrainians' victory plan. We previously shared this our alliance, European leaders, President Biden, the Congress of United States, the Senate and the House of Representatives, and both of the potential successor have seen it. What is a comprehensive strategy aimed at achieving a just peace and ending the war with Russia? We acknowledge the scale of the challenges ahead. We are ready for the frank dialogue on implementing this plan. What we are not ready is to accept what we have been fighting in vain. We are not ready to grant this aggressor impunity. We are not ready to agree to the destruction of the international law. And one more thing, we refuse to believe that the democratic world is ready to give into the mad dictator. We war in Ukraine come in the high cost to our alliance. We are sincerely grateful to their help. But let's be honest, a decrease account for a small price to pay for freedom. However, the loss of freedom is an immense price to pay for the comfort. So what we are proposing? We're proposing to win this war together. The success of the plan depends on the joint actions and efforts. It consists of 5 points. Points 2, strengthening Ukraine defense capabilities. Point 3, deterring the aggressor. Point 4, development economic potential. Point 5, using Ukrainian military experience to enhance its security in the Europe. Everything is clear here. But basic things, it's inviting Ukraine to NATO. This is point 1. There is the reason, so what? In no other case will be war end. At best, it will be paused. Putin doesn't need Crimea, Donbass, or Odessa. He wants it all. It whatever his successor is. Subduing Ukraine will remain the basic paradigm of Russian statehood. The second paradigm will also stay the same, revenge for the Cold War. Even the cost a new Cuban crisis. Moscow will inevitably interpret attempts to avoid confrontations as a weakness. And we will press harder. Russian allies will follow suit. We are already. Technically, the West, it's not belligerent party, but it is actually at war. What is why Ukraine victory is critical? The best time to end this war with the just peace was in the 2014. The second best time is now. Over these 3 years, Russia has become weaker. And the community of democracies has grown stronger. Evidence of this in the implementation of the peace formula. It has been supported by nearly 100 countries and international organizations. We held successfully inaugurated peace summit and proven these negotiations format can be effective. By the end of October, beginning of November, the cycles of the thematic conference on each of these 10 points will be completed. Then we will be ready for the second summit. We will be the present joint development roadmap for achieving a just, lasting, and sustainable peace. But its implementation will depend on our ability to compel Russia to comply with the international law and the UN chapter. The victory plan shows how to achieve this. Its realization will create the necessary conditions for implementing the peace formula of President Zelensky. We are ready to negotiate the details of the plan, taking into account the interest of shareholders, of all responsible countries who respect our independence, territorial integrity, and sovereignty. However, the ultimate goal is not up for discussions. We need reliable security guarantees and protection against encroachment on the Ukrainian sovereignty. The future of the Europe, of the world, depends on this. Thank you for this attention and thank you for your support. My country during all these terrible months, practically 3 years, and I'm ready to answer to your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yermak. I'm going to start by asking you a couple of questions related to the victory plan. I mean, you mentioned about implementation. Can you elaborate what the next steps are going to be? You've already presented it in Brussels. Maybe you can share to some extent some of the feedback, some of the responses, and what are the sort of next steps in this process, I mean, from a Ukrainian point of view, and what do you consider to still be the major challenges and hurdles?
Thank you. again, the next steps after inaugurated summit, as I said, we are going now through the thematic conference for each 10 points. We already have 4 of them. Tomorrow we have in Helsinki the ecology security in the level of the Ministry of Ecology, and will be opening by Prime Minister of Ukraine and Finland, and also some of NSA. Then it will be one conference in Riga in the level of the speakers. Then one more online conference, and we will finish in Canada in the end of the October by the humanitarian issue. It will be big events. It's symbolic that we are finishing all this thematic conference by so painful and so important questions for us. It's how to exchange to back our prisoner of war, and how to back all civilians and unlegally deported children. And after it, we will have the draft, because all this thematic conference have outcome, the communique with the principles and concrete step for the implementation of this, each of the points. It's mean that in the end of the October, of the beginning of November, we will have, we complete all these 10 points descriptions and have our draft of the plan of the peace formula with the concrete steps and actions for implementations. Then we think that it will be good to discuss once again for President, very important to listen, as he said in the beginning. Then in Bali, he announced about peace formula, to know the thoughts and opinion, ideas of the different countries. We already incorporated in these documents any ideas, any initiatives which still have some, what is important, responsible country who respect our independence, territorial integrity, and sovereignty. As we listen all these public statements, it's mostly a country in the world. Very small group, aggressor, and their alliance. It's mean that we are looking that the lot of big number of the country will be supported and will be ready to work in this platform. I think will be very good that this discussion, these consultations will take place in the G20 meetings in Brazil. I think it's my opinion, it will be good and great opportunity to talk about it. But it depends of the country who hosts these events. It's their decisions. Then back to your questions about victory plan, how it's corresponded with the peace formula. The peace formula, it's understandable, I've described. But you know, a lot of countries, leaders, people, experts ask a lot of questions. Yes, we like your peace formula, but we have the questions. If what happened if Russia not agree, or if. To stop these questions, President presented the victory plan. How to create, not to talk, not hesitate, not afraid, how to create the real atmosphere. Then it will be absolutely real that if this negotiation happened in the second summit, this consultation, Ukraine will be, first of all, will be strong. This is the most important, because any variant, then this war will be ended. It's not acceptable for us, you understand. But it's necessary to understand any end of this war, not by just peace, it's first of all not acceptable for Ukraine. The second, it's created a big risk, a big dangerous, not just for us, it's created big dangerous for all Europe and for all the world. If somebody thinks that end of the war by any price will stop any potential conflict or existing conflict, it's not true. Vice versa. All existing war, existing conflict, and potential conflict appeared and increased immediately. We are sure about it. Never dictator, never aggressor, non-stop themselves. And believe me, and our colleagues from Baltic country, our friends and colleagues from Balkans, absolutely concerned about it. And this is the very important. Why I think that, yes, you're absolutely right. We present the victory plan, and I said to first President Biden, his administration, to the Congress, both candidates, then President personally, for him it was very important to present in London, in Paris, in Rome, in Berlin, yesterday in Brussels. The presentation, it's mean that he is explain about plan, he is talking, the leaders answer to some questions, explain why it's important. I can share with you that the very big attention and the people very seriously looking to this plan. We think that understood the logic of this plan, but of course, we are waiting for some concrete results of the discussions. And we are open. This consultation, it's happening. We are working with the teams, with Americans, the Brits, France, Germany, Italy, European Union. But we think now it's momentum. Momentum which we can't lose, especially this momentum created by successful Kursk operation. I wanted to say we are in the difficult situation. We in the difficult situation in the East. We are difficult situation to be in the Kursk because, but what is very important? Important that we know how and we able to stay because, and this is a very important, we just in these difficult circumstances, then delivery of some equipments, delay up to 12 months, which already agreed. But we stay and don't believe to the Russian propaganda that they so many successful. Truth is following, more than 2 months, we in the Russian territory. And Kursk operation destroyed very strong Russian narrative from the past. First, then he started war 10 years ago, and then he started full-scale invasion. He pretended and he shared this information that he protected somebody, Russian-speaking people, or now just Russians see. For him, most important to continue aggression in our territory than to protect his people in their territory. Second, the people, and I think that maybe not enough, but we're working for their colleagues, not just in the Europe, in America, but in the global South country. It's important to understand what is the difference between Russian soldiers and Ukrainian. Ukrainian soldiers help populations, sometimes brings help and brings the humanitarian aids. And you remember what happened in our cities like Bucha, like Irpin, in which we back the most darkness times of the Second World War, with all elements terrible, concentrated camp, the torture of the people, killing of civilians. One examples, can you imagine then some people talking and think about some dialogues with Putin and something that it's necessary to think about. What in the head of the people who is directly hit children hospital in the Kiev, in which children was with the cancer disease? What necessary enough more to understand that this is the not the Russia then somebody still think with culture, it's country of the terrorists, of the maniacs. Next narrative, which we destroyed by Kursk operations. Some people still said that, oh, am we afraid about some more escalations? What more escalation? We in the Russian lands, we in their territory. Just conversation, and sometimes which they back because didn't found any another criminal arguments. They started continue blackmails about nuclear weapons, but just conversation of the using nuclear weapons, push away from them their allies like China, like others, because everybody understand what is the dangers of just conversation, just thoughts about it. And especially yesterday, it was conference of the nuclear, thematic conference of the nuclear security. And it was huge numbers of the participants, including Global South, and very strong outcome we was able to have after this conference. It happened in Paris. This is the plan. Of course, it depends of our position in front line, and our position depends of the concrete actions. The victory plan, very simple, very logical, very understandable, and very real, and not depends of Russia. It depends of the will and readiness of the leaders, of the partners our to act and to make Ukraine strong. Last things, Ukraine ready to diplomacy, but Ukraine want to go to diplomacy when we have plan, and not like it's happened during Minsk and Normandy, when we have in the table, I'm sorry, but not very understandable documents like in Minsk agreements. Yes, then Zelensky win the elections. We have not another documents. It was obligation of our country, and we have to work with this. I'm represent personally in Normandy, Ukraine. I have the big headache how to explain just myself, and of course to enemy, what means representative of the territory. Why not mentioned about Crimea? And believe we use all possibility. We have more than 200 rounds of the negotiation with Russia from 2019. What happens? Everybody know. The plan plus be strong. Important to keep unity between partners, to keep unity in Europe. And the last things, sorry that I'm so long, answer to your questions. It's necessary to understand through this war, Europe started extremely strong, united, and it's necessary to keep it. Of course, with Ukraine as a member of European Union and Ukraine member of the NATO, a European Union will be more stronger.
Thank you. This was a great answer. And I'm going to go to the floor now because I know you're on a short time span. So who give us the hands and let us know who you are and where you're from. We'll start at the front.
Thank you, Andrew Gray, European Affairs Editor at Reuters. And many thanks for this event, for taking the time. I wanted to ask you about potential endgame scenarios. The former Secretary General of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, among others, has mentioned the East-West Germany solution. So you would not accept that that territory that is currently occupied belongs to anyone else, but for the moment, it would not be fully under your control, but in return, you would have membership of NATO and the European Union. Is that an acceptable scenario for you?
Thank you very much. Necessary to divide it several questions. Now, in victory plan, we are talking about invitation. Invitation, it's not yet membership. Membership, we are a realistic person and we understand possible only after the war. Invitation, of course, necessary be issue for whole territory. Whole territory, it's international recognized border. And what is it? It's necessary, you know, it's necessary always to be very honest and very clear. We need to have the end of, and about what our peace formula. It's about what everything necessary to do in all sense possible to say. War is ended. Crisis, it's settled. Of course, we understand it's not possible to do it immediately, but it's necessary to see what in the end. And then build logical roadmap. Why now, again, we're talking about invitation. Invitation, it's a strong signal to Russia. Necessary to make decisions now, to end this war now. Because next step, it's membership. How we can receive this membership? How will be work Article 5? It's this next questions. For some skeptical countries and some skeptical people in the world who ask, yes, we still hesitated, NATO, Ukraine. The President Zelensky very clear yesterday in the press conference, little back to the past. Potential nuclear of Ukraine. And you understand that if we will still have these nuclear weapons, it's never happened with us. But we're a responsible country. We decided and we gave our all potential to Russia. It's necessary to understand to Russia and to United States. The country like Russia, United States, China, France, Great Britain, and others give to us guarantees our territorial integrity. Okay, of course, be a 25-year lawyers, I have a lot of questions to these documents. And of course, if it will be now, of course, Zelensky not be signed such documents. We input, because I know as a lawyers, the most important, you don't read all this 100 package, read the last. What will be if it's the guarantees, the obligation not work? And this is the most important in any documents legal. Unfortunately, but what about reputation of the country? And what about, okay, you can say, no, enough, not such world, but nobody refused of these documents officially. All this country respectable in the world. What about it? And we have the rights now to say, okay, you gave to us these guarantees. What we want now, we not compare that guarantees and the guarantees which country have in the NATO, but we ask about guarantees. But, and we very honest, we don't know now in the our world more strong guarantee than Article 5 of NATO. If somebody have another idea, please tell me. And this is one more argument. Okay, I think after everything happens, It's necessary to stop to found each new summit of NATO good wordings, little bit better. Maybe it's time after so high price that Ukraine paid to understand that it's not enough in our world, this structure of the security. It's necessary to think, because it's possible to happen with anybody. Please think, this has happened. Aggressor country, nuclear country, started aggression against country without nuclear. Why are you not concerned that if it's not acceptable, it's not happened with us? We have another president now. We not go for the frozen conflict. It's but just imagine if it can be ended not by just peace. What it's mean that any country in the world who have the nuclear weapons can decide it tomorrow that they like, I like these lands, I like this. Do you everybody want to live in this kind of the world? I'm sure not. And now we show 3 years. Look, then sometimes people hesitated thinking, maybe just, you can imagine that 3 years, I remember, because from first day I'm in the office of president, the president, you remember what feelings, what in the beginning, people don't believe. It was against any logic. So big monster, Russia, but 3 years we fighting. 3 years, I'm sitting here in Brussels. By the way, the last, my visit was in Brussels. I was in the meeting, the 4 NSA, Americans, Brits, Germany, and France. And some of them in the end of the meeting asked me, okay, we understand you, but if it's happened, this, what you will doing? I said, fightings. They look to me, and in the eyes I read, they don't very much believe. When in some period of time we met in Hiroshima in the G7 meetings, because we are friends already, we are the work and sometimes speaking during the first months, several times during the night, the days, they said, look, we need to recognize we in that time didn't believe. We think that we saw you the last time. I'm here, we're talking about future. I ask my friends, a lot of colleagues, please tell me, how much time you need more we surprise the world, that you started believe and trust that this is the reality to win by Ukraine this war?
Yeah, indeed, we need to believe, but we also need to stop betraying and taking the wrong decisions, because as you rightly said, Budapest Memorandum, then 2014, these are all betrayals and failings, and there's a risk that Ukraine could be betrayed again now, unless the allies step up. But we need to go to the other questions, Andriy, because there's so many of them.
I said that I was a lawyer.
Yeah.
I need to be very, very careful, especially that election in different country, not stop to say wrong decision. It's I speaking about what we need for right decision.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, maybe we'll take 2 or 3 at the same time. What's your last time you can stay till? How much time can you stay till? Till 5:30?
5?
Till 5:30? Till 4:30, can we say, or till later, longer? Okay, let's go then.
Know how much time I need to
well,
get
let's,
to airport.
yeah,
I'm
no.
Absolutely
Okay,
ready
let's
to spend all my time with you. Yeah.
That's nice. We'd love to have you here all night, huh? Okay, let's start with the gentleman here on the end. Yeah, just in front of you. Just in front of you, yeah.
Thank you.
And oh, sorry, yeah. And then
Do I
let's
have
take
to
3
raise it?
questions at
Oh.
once, huh?
I'm sorry. Oh, you wanted?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Frédéric Moreau. I'm also a lawyer and a researcher also. My question is very easy. If the people who guaranteed you at the Budapest Memorandum do not fulfill their obligation, if the West doesn't invite you at NATO, why don't you go yourself nuclear as far as possible? You have the scientist.
Very provocative.
You have the matters.
Okay, can we take the second? Sorry, behind you.
If I may follow up, Olena Abramovich, Radio Free Europe, Ukrainian Service, and Current Time TV. You mentioned that actually it's quite dangerous rhetoric, which can, I mean, nuclear rhetoric, which can end up in losing friendly countries, etc. It seems like maybe accidentally, maybe not. Yesterday, Ukraine kind of surprised everyone with this nuclear rhetoric. Ukrainian president explained that Ukraine is not working on producing any kind of weapons, but are there any circumstances, conditions in which Ukraine would consider going nuclear? And another question, Ukraine always repeated that no discussions about Ukraine without Ukraine. We have meeting today in Berlin. Why Zelensky is not there? Thank you.
Two. Okay, we can take another one if you're up for it. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, Blaž Mohorčić from the Slovenian press agency. I would like to know for when is the second peace summit planned, and do you agree some also member states of the EU are calling that Russia should also be at this second peace summit? Do you agree with this? Thank you.
Okay, let's go.
First, we are a responsible country, and it was our decisions to refuse from the nuclear, and the president very clearly yesterday said an answer for the questions, because it started some not very right interpretation of his words. We are talking about guarantees. We are not think about, and we have not these thoughts about the nuclear. We refuse it. We want to receive for what we have the rights. And this is a very clear, and again, very responsible country. I, in this sense, can give to you some examples. In some part of my life, I be a lawyer. I was a lawyer, and it was some period of time I was a movie producer. And one of the projects which I'm started to work, but not finished because started this work, it was the book of the some very famous person from Mossad, and from the group of Mossad who is participated and catch Eichmann in Argentina and bring to the Israel for the first hearing of the criminal tribunal. And it was very interesting because they especially choosing the person who have and lost somebody in the Holocaust. And because Eichmann don't keep the silence during this way, all of them want to kill him in the plane, but what is the difference between adequate person and the person and the democracy and autocracy? And then for you, the rule of law, it's mean. And this, it's not about your personal emotion. And this is example why, yes, it's not just to us. All this Budapest memorandum, all this negotiation, all this Bucharest summit about NATO. It's not right, it's not just. But we are responsible people. It's necessary that the people, that the leaders remember about it. And then somebody hesitated, somebody don't have enough arguments, always remember about it. As why you can feel the emotion and what the people, because no, all of us were living in this terrible war. Many of us lost our relatives, our friends. But what is the difference? We need not to be, we not started be animals. This is the difference between us and Russians. There was the questions about why we are not in Berlin. Ask who is organized these meetings. I'd like to say that we was very in short period of time meeting with all these leaders, Biden, Scholz, Macron, Starmer. We in the events to which invited us, but I hope, and I have not any evidence or facts that the principles, nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine, it's breaking by some of our partners. I have not these facts. And it's necessary, don't forget that it's a partners who is very much supported and very much help us. Plus, you know that 2 days ago was very substantial and very important conversation between President Biden and President Zelensky. How I can answer to your questions. And your questions about the second summit, I said that we can think about date for the second summit when we will be ready with this plan, and we will be ready and feel that we are strong enough and there is a circumstances to organize this summit. I can say that we are not stop consultations. We have the list of the country who is ready to host, and we are always in the position that it will be possible in the second summit. Then we have this plan to invite a representative of Russia and present this plan. And for us, it's a principal questions that it's necessary. We think it's necessary to happen in the presence of the all responsible country, our friends, our partners who support us and who is with us during all this way. We don't trust Russia. We wanted to have any on the table negotiations. It was enough in our history. Stop. And of course, we, in the war, you know, you have little bit in other things and other feelings. You believe not to words, you believe to the actions and the facts.
Does strong enough mean you need to wait until after Ukraine has received more military assistance? I mean, till the West has delivered the weapons that it promised, the air defense systems that were promised but haven't been delivered, or most of them. Is this a key point?
I can't say most of them. I say not all and not enough.
Not enough of them, and not quickly.
You know, it's necessary to be very honest, because, you know, when friends help you, maybe not you ask 1,000 euros and received 500. It's not mean that this is the reason to criticize. It's mean that explain additionally that you need more.
We'll take the two ladies here, please. Wait for the microphone.
Hello, I'm Marianne Lambert, a Belgian citizen from Orphans Feeding Foundation. We work on returning children who are deported to Russia, but my question is not on that. It's what can we do as European citizens to help you, well, as much as we can, in the US election. I must admit, myself as a Belgian citizen, when I hear Trump, when I hear Orban, where I was in a conference where they were speaking about Ukraine, it's absolutely horrific. But we are in a democracy, we have to listen to them. So what can we do here in Europe to help you, to make sure that the person who will be elected will support Ukraine?
Thank you very much. First of all, it's very important to keep this unity and to be strong. As a strong Europe will be easy to keep unity between all the partners. And now it's necessary to not lose that your influence, your relations, I mean, European Union, to the global South. Look what happened 2 days ago. The Middle East leader come to you. There's some of them who is not very often traveling. They came to Brussels. It's demonstration how big role, maybe sometimes Europe don't in the end realize how you strong and how you started strong during this war. It's necessary to keep, it's necessary to work, it's necessary to explain just in the country in which people don't understand. I'm sure the people have another position only if you're absolutely right, we're living in democracy. We have just, and this is our advantages. It's necessary to speak. It's necessary to explain. Honestly, it's not enough to work how we work, all of us together against Russian propaganda. It's mean that it's necessary to explain by facts, explain, because look, to people, it's normal. The people today, they saw something on the television, but they have their problems, questions of every day. It's necessary to work, to explain why for Zelensky it's so important for our president and why he is traveling. You know, I don't know who is traveling in such rhythm when 3 capitals per 1 day, in where it's he's speaking press conference, and but he's continue because for him it's very important. He's a very necessary to show how we respect people, because all politics in all the world started the morning looking what thinking the people, and this is our more strongest support. And it's necessary if the people and for the it will be some signal, because in the beginning many European cities, many in the world with Ukrainian flags, if people started to hesitate, maybe it's not enough information, maybe little bit more stronger started be Russian propaganda about American elections. I wanted to very deeply, but I want to say you very interesting things. For us, it was very important. Then we go to United States. We have program maximum. Many people don't believe that it will be possible, but it's happened. We have very good meetings in White House. We have very good meetings in Congress, Senate and House, and we have great meetings, excellent meetings with both candidates. It's not because I'd like to say, it was really very good meetings. You know, the election in the United States, as in other countries, it's choice of the people of this country. And for us, it's a very much important. We respect our friends and partners, and we want that partners and friends respect us. But what is the most important, what we get? That not Kamala Harris, not Donald Trump, do not be ready to go for any peace with Putin, which will be not, first of all, is received and supported by Ukrainian people. And the second, that will be look like the losing of democracy, of the big difference between these candidates. And it's not long period of time to wait how election will be end. But our goal was to speak, to share our principles idea. Of course, with vice president, we are more often to meet. With Donald Trump, it was second meeting with Zelensky after 5 years. Same in New York in 5 years. But it was important to share. And now we are keeping the contact with both teams. For us, one of the things what is important is to share what happened, what the situations, why it's important to continue support, and be keeping focus and briefed both candidates about the current situation in Ukraine. What happened? 5 November, it's a very close. But again, when the people just before asked, do you afraid what you feel? I said, look, not necessary, afraid, not help. Necessary to work for us. Work that the people of the country very much support. And the level of support in American society, very high. And this is demonstrated visiting of the President Zelensky in the state, because very important to go not just to Washington and New York. We was in Utah, we was in Pennsylvania, we was in other, and you know, the ordinary people in the plants, in the street, how they greet president, cars, and it's a very important. But it's not time to relax. It's necessary just work because sometimes just people to whom we know, I'm not speaking about people in the politics, ordinary people, some friends, they sometimes, because they have their life, it's necessary to understand what happened. And sometimes, look, the Soviet Russian propaganda have so long history and so much money they contribute investment to this. Necessary be very careful and to work, to explain, to speak. Sometimes, and especially now, then this Kursk. This is a lot of things change after this. I think it's not enough. Not enough in the European televisions. Not enough the Ukrainian politics participated. Not enough. Maybe it's good time to start it some very successful format like a TV bridge. Like a TV bridge to speak ordinary people in the studio, to ask what feel old people in Kherson, in Dnipro, and our people ask, we are going to European Union. How are you living? If everything great or you have some problems, what it means for us. I think it will be great. It's necessary to start. We will be absolutely supported this because it's necessary. We are living, our plan to be in one European family. Look, it's like that we are already married, but waiting that we not started to live in one building. Maybe it's time to prepare for it.
Yeah. Thank you. Next, the lady next.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Vitaeva. Sasha Vakulina, Euronews Television. I would want to ask you a question regarding North Korea, because there's been lots of reports, and yesterday we heard from the NATO Secretary General, I'm going to quote him, NATO has no evidence that North Korea soldiers are involved in the fight, but we have all the evidence.
Okay. Or you? No, she's.
No.
Is it because of the question?
No. It's okay. I'm sorry. No, I'm listening.
So yeah, NATO said they have no evidence that North Korean soldiers are involved in the fight, but they do have evidence that North Korea is supporting Russia's war effort. Now, I want to ask you whether you have evidence regarding North Korean citizens being on the ground in Ukraine, including on the temporarily occupied territories. And the second part of the same question, how would you see in this case the change of the dynamic when it comes to Ukraine's allies, partners, and friends, and the equipment and the support they can provide, including, in this case, South Korea?
Thank you. First of all, as I said, President Zelensky, we get this information from our intelligence. Very simple. And we said to partners, if you have some another things, very simple how to settle, our intelligence sitting together and check this, and we decided about it. We have this confirmation. But the most important, that it's necessary already, you're absolutely right, to think what will be reactions. Because then it will be, because if it started, definitely happened. And in what amount of the people, how, when, it's the questions. But we know it's not the secret for anybody that North Korea, it's the alliance of the Russia, same as Iran. But we think it's necessary very seriously to look to this. And if, because just fact participation of 10%, it will be confirmation that the second country participated in this war against one Ukraine. Maybe it's one more arguments, a little bit quickly decided about everybody know. No, that it's interesting. It's very interesting that because you are living, when you're living in the war, 24 hours, 7 days in this. When we meet with some colleagues and we present what we need in some equipment, we very often know better. As we are working, it's normal. We are understand, we are, war, it's once again, it's little bit, it's very different atmosphere and the condition than the something to think about peaceful time. But this is very serious and we're very much concerned about it. And this is maybe the very strong signal and China as well to think about it.
Right, we have quite a few more hands. We still have time, right? I feel we're
I have the boss.
all right, let's go to the gentleman on this side. Romil?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah?
Yeah, just.
Okay, let's take, and then we'll work our way across.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Teun Jans. I'm working as a policy advisor to a member of the European Parliament for the European movement Volt. You said you want to be part of the European family. We also want you to be part of the European family. I have a question on point 3 and point 5, particularly of the victory plan. So containment of Russia via a non-nuclear strategic deterrent package deployed in Ukrainian soil, and replacing some US troops stationed across Europe with Ukrainian soldiers. So my main question is, how would you concretely see building this, what I see as a capabilities-based EU pillar within NATO, and how far should that go in the future? And also, does this non-nuclear strategic deterrent mean a long-range conventional strike capability, or how would that look like according to you? Thank you very much.
Can we take a second question
Okay,
till we go?
Good afternoon, Tommaso Gallavotti of the Italian press agency ADN Kronos. It's a question about European politicians. I wonder, we got quite a few pro-Russian politicians also in Italy, like Mr. Matteo Salvini and others around Europe. How do you think that they are in good faith?
You speak up.
Pronounce the names of this pro-Russian politics.
It's for example, Matteo Salvini, the leader of the Lega in Italy, and also other politicians in Europe, Marine Le Pen and others. Do you think that these politicians are in good faith, or that they are in the hands of Putin? They are blackmailed in some way? Thank you.
About the 2 points in the victory plan. First of all, you know that I can't open to you all details. I can just say to you the philosophy and logic of this. We need to have some package which will be so strong that Russia will understand if they not go for the serious conversation, negotiations, how to end this war by just peace, or we will be able to really make a serious damage of the military, very important, military target, military industry. About the troops, you know that after this war, we already have more prepared and experienced soldier who is 10 years in the war. And it's logical that it will be, you know, like in childhood, you know, the some when you're playing with your friends, somebody can explain how he is strong, but you trusted, then you saw the real, some facts that that this your child friends, it's really strong. The same, the people now, the European country saw during these 3 years that we are really strong. We are fighting and we demonstrated how we brave, and it's mean that it will be logical. It's our proposals. If it will be the questions, our people who will be ready to continue be a military and want to be the professional, it will be logical to replace of some contingent of American soldiers or the others for Ukrainians who is more prepared, more strong. It's give, for example, to our people possibility to be in the military services, and for the European, our whole continent, to be more secure and to be sure that these people ready how it's to fight with Russia, and demonstrated it's already this experience. About the questions for Russian politicians.
Yeah.
No, I don't know exactly, because it's necessary to be very deeply in domestic politics. I know great Giorgia Meloni, who is pro-Ukrainian, and she is prime minister. And I think that, you know, we are living in democracy. Again, it's our advantages. And the people have the right, it's necessary to work, and it's necessary that the leaders who is pro-Ukrainian, and I think it's not just pro-Ukrainian, pro-European and pro-democracy, that they will be more strong. And society, if society started to look for some alternative, it's not necessary to find the reasons that something wrong with these people. Better to find that we not work enough, that these people, because any adequate person who know the truth, it's impossible to be pro-Russians now. Ask any people in the street, do you support murder of the civilians? Are you supported the murder of the children? I don't believe in it. If the people look and started not be sure and hesitated, it's necessary that all of us, we are together, not work enough to explain, to talk, to convey some information. It's a question for us, and it's a question for our friends. Why I think it's not enough the anti-propaganda Russians, the activity. We have in all security agreements, we have provision of the informational security. But honestly, I think it's not enough work. We need to create maybe some special services, some special things, and it's a lot of opportunity to work and to convey to the people. Because look, very simple. If somebody, for example, I speak this some people from some Eastern Europe country, and they said, yes, we for peace. It's not. I said, okay, we for peace as well. But do you forget about Prague 1968? Or maybe you forget about Warsaw agreements. You want to back to the time of the Soviet Union? This is very simple questions. You want? No, I'm sure that the people, the society definitely would want. But maybe it's necessary to explain, because sometimes, you know, for the closer communications, it's understandable that I'm not talking for everybody, but it's not so pro-Russians. How it's some questions, some problems which it's not settled and no existing communications. It's mostly important. I'm absolutely, if before it, you know, back to the Normandy format. It happened not so many years ago. And I'm sure that in France and Germany want only the best. They want to help. Sometimes we spend 12 hours non-stop in negotiations. Can you imagine? Non-stop sitting in the office of Chancellor, Cossack smoking non-stop. It was impossible without any outcome. And they sitting and listen how we are fighting. 12 hours. But they want to help. Now they recognize that without, you know, imagine somebody made the crimes. And you have not criminal code, you have not any losses, and you push it that somebody said necessary, one thinks it's necessary, both parts sitting on the table. Okay, you sit. Person, the criminal, without judge, without prosecutor, and without criminal courts. And speaking, please. What will be in the end? Several hours, you will be missed who is criminals, who is victims, and one argument will be another against another. This is what happened in Normandy format. Never want to repeat this. Plus, we live during long period of time in the frozen conflict. Any frozen conflict, Russia received just pause to prepare.
We had another couple of questions, and then I think we have to wrap it up.
Hello. Yes, thank you very much. My name is Remo Hess. I work for Swiss newspaper group CH Media here in Brussels. Thank you for doing this. I wanted to follow up on the Berlin meeting. I mean, the Chancellor yesterday said already he has not changed his positions when it comes to NATO and also to long distance weapons, and he will not change it. And I didn't hear anything from President Biden. Maybe you have some other information, but what are your expectations when it comes to this meeting in Berlin? You said already nothing on Ukraine without Ukraine. Are you concerned that this might still happen? And then I have a second question, very specific on Switzerland. I mean, sanctions is a big topic for you. And the Swiss government this week decided not to implement the part of the 14th sanctions package that is aiming on subsidiaries to circumvent the sanctions. Switzerland is not implementing that. What do you think on that, especially since Switzerland is such a big business hub with lots of international companies and holdings? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then we'll take the last question from the gentleman here.
Thank you. Stuart Lau from Politico. Very nice to meet you, sir. Donald Trump once said that if he's reelected, he'll bring Ukraine to the negotiating table within 24 hours. After your meeting, after your president's meeting with him, is Ukraine still getting the same message from Trump? And do you get any indication that Trump, if he's reelected, will pull out military support for Ukraine within a very short time? Thank you.
Okay, about Berlin. Let's wait what will be the outcome and the end of these meetings. As I said, we're living in the feelings we trust our partners. But at the same time, I can say that, it's impossible to decide something about Ukraine without Ukraine. Honestly. It's like the questions which I'm listening from 2019 a lot of time, thousands times. Is it true that somebody pressed to you? Very simple answer. If you're strong, and if it's impossible, nobody to press to you, only your people, your society. Some period of time, people realize it and stop to press. It's not work. The same things, look, we are strong, we have demonstrated it, we trust our partners. I said that we have the meetings with all leaders who is now met in the Berlin. Biden coming the first time in Germany during his terms. President spoke this hymn 2 days ago. Let's see what I want, and I have any base to comment this, because let's see what will be decisions. But it's impossible anybody in the world to make decisions about Ukraine without Ukraine. Like about as I said, we are ready for any initiatives, but then somebody issues some initiatives about peace process without Ukraine. It looks strange. Maybe it's possible to decide it about another somebody, but not about Ukraine. We are strong enough. The second your questions was about sanctions. First of all, I'd like to say that we are very appreciate, and I have now today in the morning some opportunity to meet with my friends. Luttenberg, he's come especially to meet me in Brussels. It's an NSA of your great president. We are very appreciate that she's. I remember how it's happened during the meeting between our president. I know that not everybody was supported this, but she's decided and she's organized great inaugurated summit. Believe me, it will be in the history what she has done. The second, what I can say, okay, now you're not implement, but we will continue to work. Many sanctions not be implemented immediately. If it will be implemented by all our partners and before invasion, maybe an invasion not happen. But it's life. We continue to work. We appreciate to the partners who is implementing the end, finally implemented this. It's necessary to continue because sanctions, it's a weapons which not killed anybody, but work very strongly. And sanctions not enough. It's still Russia have the very lot of options, and here in Europe, it's still a lot of elements which produced in the Europe and United States, not just in China. It's we found in the rockets, in the missiles, but we're very open. We are demonstrated, we are shared this information. It's necessary to work. It's necessary to work against propagandists, because sometimes when you can see a person who is criticized and said that she hates West, she hates Europe, but demonstrated how she presence in the Fashion Week in Paris and Milan, and that it's look bad, it's look strange, it's difficult to explain why. It's necessary to work. We have worked with our partners. We are today discussed with some colleagues here in Brussels, and we continue to work. Your questions was about the Trump. No. Everything will be understandable after elections. Rhetorics during campaign and one things, really the real things, it's another things. I can share with you what I feel and what I know. We don't discuss the 24 hours plan of Donald Trump. President shared that, look, it will be great if existing some plan to end this war by acceptable results for Ukraine during 24 hours. We will be happy to listen about it. We don't know about this plan, but it was, once again, it was very good meetings. I can't share with you because it was decision between president that it will be very confidential, but believe me, it was really very deep, very good, very open conversations. I didn't listen anything which will be concerned to me that the help will be stopped, that Ukraine will be without support. But again, both meetings with us was great. But again, in the war, necessary to look to the result. From our side, we are still decent, responsible, brave, open. I can say, look, with us, very simple. Here, it's necessary to think that it's difficult. It's really, again, we are very much appreciated for all partners. But again, if you look, yes, we the difficulties for the partners because it's necessary to help, it's necessary to go for some not popular decisions, but in the same time, we are the biggest success of the all countries who help us. Honestly, if you look to all the history, tell me about another country who is 3 years, every day, every dollars, every euros, show how it's worked by the results. Strategy of NATO, long period of time, build it with the concern of Russia. And now one country, not members of NATO, demonstrated. Possible, not afraid. Just sometimes, please realize what happened. When we are sitting in Birkenstock, it's maybe first time during long period of time, sense of United Nations and sense of international law back. Because in one round table, sitting Vice President of United States and representative of. Tell me, please, when and where it's possible then everybody sitting, not just member of delegations of this country who is speaking, and listens each other with respect and thinking how through international law, not through force, how to found the solutions. We give the opportunity to the world to really realize it's possible to fight for your freedoms. It's possible not afraid. It's possible to be strong. It's possible not be formal, because our president never speaks. He is a very honest person and very clear. And maybe it's good because, you know, the classical diplomacy, it's died. Now people want results. If we have some services which help ordinary people, I mean emergency, why it's not exist for the international relations? Why it's happened something people weeks waiting that something, but this voting, but these documents not prevent aggressions. Not normal that nobody in the world now, what we are working, we are not just backing our children, but we created mechanism, we created group who is built some mechanism for the potential future 21st century. Nobody know, everybody want to help, but nobody know what is necessary. Oh, lot of ecology summit, not of talking, but not necessary to wait 20 years. We have this ecology catastrophe. Kakhovka station. Please come, and this is a lot of experts, and we yesterday, tomorrow will be discussed how is if it possible to back and for some kind of some animals, some natural, some if it possible to back it, how it survived, how it's this is question. Why this formula we are not thinking, because some people said, okay, it will be easy to make 3 points and stop ceasefires. No, it's not. Why we think not just about us going through this tragedy, we want that it's not happened in the world, in any place, because life of child cost another in the same things in any place. And how we are adults can be talking about some security if still every minute died and killed children in our world? And how somebody can say that some structure of security work and something? No, if this war happened, if in 21st century we still have concentrated camp, you know that in Kiev we have one of the happened biggest Holocaust tragedy of Babi Yar, and Zelensky was the first who is decided to rebuild, and we have, I was appointed by him, and I'm working with the partners, and we started to build memorial. Can you imagine that one of the first rockets took to the territory of the Babi Yar and killed family with 2 children? It's mean that in second times, people in the same things. Somebody want to try to look that this guy's possible to look about something. No, they need to see force. They need to see unity. And finally, then see that free world, democracy. I'm sure about it. And who is don't believe and don't trust in my words, I'm invited you to come to Ukraine. You feel this energy, you meet these people, and you understand and will be in the same position as we all Ukrainians. Thank you very much. Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава. From my side, I would like to thank you very much for staying so long. And just to repeat what you said, I mean, we're working, we need to work harder, we need to work stronger, and we need to stop being afraid. Ukrainians aren't afraid, but too many of Ukraine's partners are afraid, and fear is the friend of the enemy. And we need to wipe that out. Let's get rid of fear, let's get the victory, let's get it done. Thank you very much, Andriy Yermak.
Yes, of course.